First of all, congrats to Anderson and Jimmy Williams for really an excellent game that they played, and definitely the harder playing team, and definitely played with the most energy and spirit, especially defensively. And then they got rewarded, made shots, and I thought just like I've said many times, the team that plays the hardest and plays with the most energy and plays the most connected typically wins the game, and that happened today. So ultimately, we didn't play hard enough, and we didn't play connected enough for sure, and that's ultimately on me, and I got to be better, and I got to get this thing figured out, and we don't have much time to hang our heads. We got league play coming up, and we gotta press on. So unacceptable, very poor job by me leading our program today, and we're gonna keep fighting. We're gonna roll up the sleeves and see what we got to do to get this thing back on the right path.
I guess, Coach, there are certain aspects of this game that you can affect as a head coach, and there are certain aspects of the game you can't affect as a head coach. The intensity factor. What's the hardest part of? You mentioned it already of getting your team to play hard.
Yeah, that's a great question, John. Typically, that hadn't been something that we've struggled with a ton around here. We've always had teams that played really, really hard, and this team's not playing hard enough consistently enough. We have our stretches and we have our moments, and typically it's when the ball is going in, right? And today the ball wasn't going in, and then the problem just compounds itself, and then you put yourself in a situation where, you put yourself in the situation we put ourselves in today, and we're just, yeah, it's to be honest with you, I wish I had the answer to that. I just know this: I got to figure out how to get them playing harder, and that's pretty evident. And I just felt like we tried to, you tried to go to every ball screen coverage. We tried to press. We tried to go zone. We couldn't get stops. And yet, at the end of the day, they shot 20 more shots on goal than we did. They got 19 offensive rebounds, and then you flip it over, and we miss 18 threes. We go 2 for 20 from three, and we miss 14 free throws. And so when you just focus on that side of the ball, am I scoring? We make 2 threes today, and we miss 14 free throws, and we scrap out 74 points. Okay, and we got 2 all-conference players in street clothes. It's amazing how much our team just continues to focus on that side of the ball. And I'll be honest with you, John, we've worked on defense as much as we have with any team. I'm struggling to get them consistently do it. And I got to, at the end of the day, I know that we're not going to win consistently if we don't guard. And we got to be a complete team. And right now, that's just not where our head's at. We score 40 in the second half, but we give up 40. And give them credit, man. They answered every bell, right? They answered every single bell. And but that's what happens. We've been on the other side of this, and that's what happens, right? You don't have any pressure on you. All of a sudden, you're playing the game the right way. You're dependent on one another. You're moving the ball. At halftime, they had scored 8 points off our turnovers. We had scored 1 off of theirs. So we just didn't deserve to win today. They deserved to win, and it's we've got to look ourselves dead in the face on this one, and we got to figure it out. But I agree with you. There's definitely an effort adjustment that's got to be figured out on a number of our guys when shots aren't falling, and they got to understand that the game's connected, and we got to be better there.
Is there any relationship between missing shots and that being taxing on the mental part of basketball to you as a head coach?
I mean, if that's what you focus on, if you focus on, well, I got to score to play hard, and that's what's going to drive your energy. Well, what are you going to do on nights where you go 2 for 20 from three? You're just not going to guard. You're not going to get rebounds. I mean, we finally started stringing some stops together, and then Middleton felt like he got every offensive rebound, and then they're on the line and they're shooting free throws, and we had a little window there. We tied the game up, and the crowd got into it, and all of a sudden we take a bad 2, right? Well, we got to know better. We don't take tough 2s around here. Well, this year we've probably taken more tough 2s than any team I've had, right? Because I can't get guys to understand the value or the poor value of taking tough 2s. We just continue to take them, and I'm allowing it, right? So, you put yourself in a situation where this happens today, and we've been fouling, right? Like that's not anything new. And then as soon as we foul, we start looking around like, how'd they call that? And it's just not good enough. You know, you would think after the Princeton debacle, not being able to get those 3 rebounds there late, that we'd have a little bit more urgency to get a rebound. But it's just a poor job by me, and I got to do way better.
I guess the question I kind of have is missing. I kind of asked these to the 2 players as well. Missing those 2 guys today, that's obviously you're not going to make. There's no excuse for missing, not performing. But on the same hand, what is it about JP and Marcus that has a calming influence, and how do you learn that in the moment, like those guys were asked to today?
Well, I think today, what it felt like when I was watching the game and just trying to talk to them in timeouts and huddles, nobody really felt like an offensive rhythm, and there didn't feel like there was that guy out there that could just settle us offensively. And then all of a sudden we started to let that affect our spirit and our energy defensively instead of the opposite, that, hey, if you just kind of let go of all that and you just trust the offense. They picked us up full court, right? We didn't handle that necessarily great. Early in the game when it looked like we got off to a good start, we give up a dunk on a baseline play that we go over today and walk through the exact play, told the team exactly how to guard it, told them exactly what not to do, got checks in the game, and does something he's not supposed to do, gives up a dunk, and then on the inbounds we step over the line and we give up a turnover right there to the other team. And it's just plays like that where at this point in the year we should be past some of that, right? We should be able to take a scouting report to the game, and we should be able to execute one of their baseline plays that they run all the time that we literally walked over. And you got to get that into the game. And, today it felt like, hey, we're not making threes. The game's not coming easy. Hey, we're denying the elbow. We've been denied at the elbow before. That's not anything new. That's how a lot of people try to play us. We had a pretty good play call on down 2, and or maybe it was down 3. Felt like we could get it, and elbow gets denied, and they turn us over. They go down and score. And so, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Like, this is where we are. And, it's one of those situations where you can't be afraid of your problems. You just have to deal with them, and you got to address them. And I still believe in our talent. I still believe in our people. I still believe in our way. But I don't believe in trying to play the game and win the game by not being a harder playing team. I don't believe that. I don't believe playing the game without having people that are willing to lead a standard and say this is how we have to play and this is what's unacceptable. I don't believe in that. I believe in connection, and I believe in effort, I believe in energy, and I believe that there's a rhythm that goes to the game on both sides of the ball. And unfortunately today it was a disappointing effort, and I apologize to the fan base. I thought we had a great crowd. Felt like a holiday crowd, and felt like a lot of families were out in the arena, and we gave nothing to cheer for all day. But then finally we got that steal to a dunk, and the crowd gets into it a little bit, and they deserve to see better, and they will see better. We're gonna figure this thing out, and whatever we got to do to fix it, we're gonna figure it out.
Kind of last question for you. You guys faced. It wasn't like you said. It wasn't like it was easy to win a championship last year. I mean, you had to figure out a lot of things along the way, especially in non-conference. When the team wasn't maybe defending as well. What was different about how you had to kind of figure things out, and how your staff had to figure things out as it went along, as maybe this year? What has been other than, the obvious injuries obviously makes a difference, but what I always think basketball and coaching in general is kind of a psychological thing. What challenges do you have going forward in the conference play that you have to figure out?
I think that's a great question, but listen, I'm tired of talking about last year's team. Like, this isn't last year's team, okay? Like, we had our set of issues last year, and we worked through them. And guys, we had our back on the wall. Greensboro beat us here in overtime. We were up 13, and we lost 2 league games early. And like, we had to take responsibility for that, and we had to decide to change and play harder. And Like, we had to make sure we didn't go out there and be at a deficit with effort and energy. But this is a new team. It's a new situation. This is new players, new leadership. These guys got to figure this out, right? And I got to help them. Okay, I've got to lead them, but they've got to decide what matters. Okay, like last year's team, those 2 fifth years, like the only thing that mattered to them was to try to just leave a legacy, and they did. Okay, that team, they've gotten their rings, they've got their banners, all that's done. Okay, one of the most historic years in history. But like, listen, there are going to be a lot of teams that if they get compared to that team, they're going to fall short of the measurement. That was an unbelievable team. Okay, and what this team needs to realize is this year's team. Okay, like nobody's giving them credit for last year. In fact, now all they want to do is beat them more, right? Everybody's going to love to see this score today. Oh, Furman's down, man. Furman lost 2 tough guys. They're down, right? Those guys are injured. They're banged up, man. Hey, listen, like, what are we going to do about that, right? Like, are we going to be able to stand up to it and say, hey, you know what? Like, here are the things that we have to do better, or are we going to fight it, right? Like, are we going to fight against it? Are we not going to take responsibility for it? And that's what we have to get through to these guys is, you know, at the end of the day, you go 2 for 20 from 3, you miss 14 free throws, and you let another team get 19 offensive rebounds on you. And you basically lose the game in, you know, what ended up being a one-possession game, and they made a couple plays right there. You lose it at the end, and you got to deal with the disappointment of it. Whereas if we just would have, I mean, we're not even talking about, like, the turnovers and, you know, all of a sudden, like, we have 13 assists, they have 18. Like, they played the game to the formula better than we did. And it's the same formula, right? I mean, Jimmy's running the offense. He's doing the same. I mean, it's good, right? But they're not a person that walked out of the arena that thought Anderson didn't play harder than we did. Every single one of them. Like, we just got out-competed today, okay? Like, well, you got to compete. Like, you got to sit in the stands. You got to guard. Like, you got to box people out. Like, and us as coaches, what do we have to hold these guys accountable to do it. And clearly I'm not doing a good enough job with it. And I can sit up there and blame them. I'm with them in practice every day, you know? And unfortunately, it doesn't get you till it gets you. And it got us today. And this isn't the first time we've seen poor rebounding and fouling and worrying about shooting. It seems like this team's either shot it well or we can't make anything. It's kind of been the story for us so far this year. And we're still scrapping out points, but our defense is just so inconsistent, and there's just no bite to it. And there's no they took us out of stuff today, and we didn't take them out of anything. And we had to go to switching, and we had to try to go. I mean, and then every time we tried something, they banged a shot, you know. And so, look, this is going to test us, right? It's going to test us, and you know, we'll get better from it, or this thing will pull us up, and we won't respond to it. But I believe in our guys. I love our guys. I think we got great people in our program. I think we got some guys that want to do the right thing. But this is do good to feel good. This isn't feel good to do good. Like, that doesn't work, right? You can't miss shots and don't feel good. And so all of a sudden you're waiting to feel good to start doing good, right? That's not how this stuff works. Like, you have to do good. And once you choose to do the right thing, now all of a sudden you're going to start to be able to reap the benefit. And now you'll start to feel good because you'll do the things that winning requires. And today we didn't do the things that winning requires. And ultimately that's on me.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.